Good afternoon. My name is Janae Strickland, and I am a fifth grade teacher over here at Liberty Grove Elementary. I have been self contained for the past 3 years, and I absolutely love it. In my classroom, I currently have the typical technology that we all have in our classrooms: the projector, I have the teacher computer, I have two student computers, and I also have an iPad cart of 30 iPads that I share with three other fifth grade classes. Currently, I also have a class set of Mimeo clickers in my classroom. So thank you so much for joining with us today. This webinar is all about assessments and how to differentiate assessments in your classroom with Go Formative. My partner, Jen Cow, is over in the chat with you. So if you have any questions, she is available to answer them. And if you have any questions about anything after the webinar, then feel free to contact me. My contact information will be available at the end of this presentation. So don't forget to stay till the end so that you can get your CPE credit. And my partner will be sharing that link with you in the chat window at the end of the session. Why should we even investigate this topic? Why is it important for us to look into Go Formative? What is it going to do for you? It just helps us to focus on assessments and to let us know that assessments don't have to be boring. They don't have to have the same question type. We can give students different avenues to show us how much they really understand a topic or a skill. Informative is not just another quiz game. We know quiz games. It's important to use this tool because we can use it for assessment differentiation to try to hit all of those different learning styles that we want to address in our classroom. We want to also give them those different learning styles during their assessment. This webinar aims to help you in setting up an account, creating your first formative, and sharing any tips or tricks that might be helpful to make your use of formative seamless in your classroom. Goal as we work with technology integration in the classroom is to make sure that it aligns with our ISTE standards, and formative aligns pretty well with our ISTE standards. This resource aligns with the empowered learner for students and also analysts for teachers. So you're hitting something on both sides with this type of technology integration. And now, without further ado, we have Formative. So Formative is a website that allows you to create any type of formative assessments, and it can act on student responses. So I'm going to share with you some information about Formative. So like I said, Formative is a website that allows you to create formative assessments and to act on student responses for free. It works on any device and especially on the web, which is especially helpful for us. Not all of our students have the devices that they need to do the things that we would love for them to be able to do in the classroom. So being able to use this on the website is very helpful. There are different types of questions, including multiple choice, true, false, short answer, and show your work questions where students can actually draw their responses. So like I said, it's a creative, formative assessment, and you can act on live student responses. You get to see what these kids are doing immediately as they are doing it. The formative teaching in this aspect allows us to quickly identify what students know, and it also helps us to intervene so that they can learn more. So before we go any further, what I want to do is to have you go ahead and sign up for a Go Formative account. It's very easy to sign up for a Go Formative account with our logins that we have available because we automatically can sign up with Google, and that'll just, log us in as normal. You'll go to the top where it says sign up, and then you can sign up with Google. Once you sign up with Google, you'll see some areas inside of Go Formative that'll ask you if you want to start a student account or if you want to create a class or what do you want to do inside of Go Formative. So if you have students without accounts, they can still take a formative assessment, and I'll show you that in a second. If you have a student with an account, they can take the formatives, but they also can get instant written feedback from you because they are a part of your class. If you have a student with an account and they join a class that you made, then they can also get instant written feedback and they get their scores back that you can send them for those formative assessments. So let's go ahead and take a look at GoFormative's website. If you type into the address bar simply goformative.com, you will come to this webpage. It for a very quick overview of what GoFormative is, its benefits, how it can be used, how it can act on live responses. What I love so much about GoFormative is that anything you have a question about, they have a walkthrough for it, and they are more than welcome to chat with you if you ever run into that roadblock where you're not sure what to do or how to do it or where to find something. So at the top, you can either press here, teachers or students sign up free, which is what you will do initially when you come to that first time you're using the website. You can press login code here. And here is where you'll log in. And I just log in with my Google login. Now, because I have used this before, you already see some things already set up. This is something that you can do also in your GoFormative account. I have different folders for each subject that I teach, so that when I create a formative assessment, I can automatically put it into the folder that it needs to be in to organize. What you see across the top are names of different classes. So you can see I have 3 classes right here. Up here we have the navigation for your formatives. You have the navigation for classes, and then tracker, which both of these things are things that I will discuss soon. So since we have you joined, let's go ahead and create a class. You want to create a class if, again, you want those students to be able to get their scores back and get feedback from what you have. So here, you notice you have 2 different options. You can add a new class, or you can import from Google Classroom. If you import from Google Classroom, all of your students that you have inside of your Google Classroom will automatically be added to your GoFormative class. If you press new class, you can create a whole new class where you'll add your own students manually to this classroom. With each class, you will get a class code that can be entered for a quick code at the top, so that students who are not inside of your class can still take that formative. So again, you will press new class. Here you can name your class and add a 2-letter abbreviation that your class will be identified by. And you can also pick a class color. Once you press update class, that class will show up here underneath your classes. Not only will that class show up here, formatives, that class will then show up here. Okay, so now let's look at creating a new formative. That's what we're here for, right? We want to see all of the different ways that our students can use these formative assessments and how we can use them to benefit our instruction and to help us identify those areas that students have a need for. So when we want to create a new formative, we press new formative. Here is a blank slate where you can create anything you want to create, any way that you want to assess the students. If you click on the name You'll be able to change the name of your formative. Here, you'll be able to add the type of formative that you would like. So let's go ahead and change our name. And again, you just click and type. And we'll just call this demo since we're just trying it out. When you press the plus sign, a new box will open up. And as you can see, everything is auto-saved. So that's a really good thing. We have some content that we can add to the question. This is what we want students to view in order to answer the question. We have different question types: multiple choice, multiple selection, short answer, essay, show your work, or true or false. With a premium account, you will have access to advanced question types, which are audio response, categorize, graphing, and resequence. Also, as a part of uploading and adding to these questions, we have upload and transform, where you can upload any PDF or any doc, and you can transform that to have students answer questions on top of it. As you can see with the free account, we have 20 pages that we can upload per month. If you would like to upgrade to the advanced account or to the premium account, then you'll have unlimited upgrades. So let's go ahead and add a multiple choice question so that you can see the layout of a question. When you come to create your question, you'll see that after you press the plus button and then add whatever type of question you want to add, to let you type your question. So we'll just type a random question today. What is Go Formative? And then you can come down here and add your answer choices. Let's just put in some random answers. So when we're done inserting our question and our answer choices, what I love about Go Formative is that it allows us to tag a standard to this. And in a second, I'll show you why that's important. So we'll go ahead and add this question. We'll add another question, I'm sorry. I like to use this show your work option because it allows the students an opportunity to actually show us what they know. One of the questions that I recently used in my classroom was dealing with science, where students had to show their work. The question: what would happen if you mixed sand, water, and salt into a clear container? Of course, the possibilities are endless with what a student can type up, but what a student can draw is even more interesting. When you do a show your work question, the student has to actually draw what their thoughts are. And here's that tag your standard option. I love it because it gives you the opportunity to search through our standards, our TEKS, and look for the standard that matches that question, because that's going to come in handy in a minute when we look at how we track students. So we're going to go ahead and align this to standard 5.5D. And we'll just keep this at a 2-question test for now. Here, we can preview the assessment to see what it would look like for students when they answer. So this is what a student would see. After you have created your assessment, you go ahead and press assign, and you'll assign it to either a class that you have or to guest students. If you assign to guest students, you will get a join code. Now, this join code can be used for anybody that has access to the internet. And when they log in and use this join code, they will have access to your assessment. So if you wanted to have it to where students did not have to log in, they didn't have to do anything extra, all you would have to do is use this join code, and students would have to put in a name associated with their responses to the questions. And this is only for this join code. This tells us right now that the assessment is live and it is ready to start accepting responses. So I'm going to enter the join code. And then once we enter the join code, you'll begin to see some responses come up. If you chose not to have a guest student, remember you have the option of integrating a class, a Google Classroom, or just having the guest students. You can click one of these classrooms to assign this assessment to that student directly on their dashboard. So it's your option, whichever one you choose. Here you also have the option to add a new class. Some optional settings: if you want a score to be returned, you can decide later how you want that score to be returned, or you can do it instantaneously. You can give them their score after the session ends. You can give them their scores after the student submits their assessment, or just click decide later. We'll just decide later for now. If you would like the student to be able to edit after their final submission, then this is where you would make that choice. So for our training purposes, we are going to use guest student, and we're going to look at what it looks like from your perspective once students start to answer. So you've seen what it looks like for the student. This is what they would see. When they click on show your work, they would have to actually show your work. You see the toolbar on the left where they can draw things. If you have those students who are artistic and they can draw any picture because they're so artistic, they will go crazy for things like this. They may not be able to verbalize what the answer would be, but they could definitely show you what that answer would be. You can change color, and students would be able to come down and show exactly what would happen to that sand and that salt water. You can add text where students would type what is happening in the situation. And with this, you can also check for vocabulary word use, the student's comprehension, and it's so much more than just clicking A, B, C, or D in this show your work example. They would click done when they're finished. And then here, just as any other multiple choice test, they would choose one of the answers. Now on your end, when you click view responses, once students have started to respond, you will begin to see. So here's question number 1, and here's question number 2 that I've answered. And what I love about GoFormative is that these responses are instantaneous. You will see them immediately. So if I have someone else who is logged in and then I see that they've answered a question, I'll start to see their answers instantaneously. So I'm going to go ahead to my side and kind of draw. You've already seen Groovy Gator pop up with their answer for assessments. And then if you look at question number 2, you'll see Groovy Gator start to actually draw, and their answer will pop up on the screen. Now, this will happen in your classroom as you are administering this test to students. And like I said, on any device. Groovy Gator right now is using a cell phone. So students who have their cell phones can log into Go Formative, and they can start adding in information that they want to include for their answers. And you'll see that Groovy Gator has come up here. Now, you can use this type of environment in your classroom as you are talking about the answer choices. Go Formative gives you the option of hiding student names, so we can keep their privacy while still looking at each one of these questions and kind of analyzing them to see what went right, what went wrong, what are some things that we need to talk about. All of these things can happen right here as students are taking this assessment. And that'll keep you from revealing any of the students' answers just by hitting to show names. When the assessment is over, you have the ability to export the information. If you notice with the free account, you have a limited number of exports. So right now you have 4 exports remaining this month, and you can export either to a CSV, spreadsheet, or to Google Sheets, and it'll have each student's name and their actual score. As far as scoring, when you click on an answer choice, you can start grading as soon as students answer. This answer was correct, so we can go ahead and give this student the point. And you'll see after you give the point that starts to change. Here you can type student feedback, and that feedback will pop up on that student's dashboard immediately. Even if they join simply using a join code, that feedback will still get back to them. They just would not have an account that it'll always be in. So the bar at the top shows us we have 1 correct, we have 1 no score. So that reminds us, these little indicators, that we need to go back and give that student the score that they deserve. This area, open, close, allows us to keep the test open, or when students are done answering the questions on the test, you press close, and it will no longer accept answers for this quiz. So if we go back home, the last part I want to show you is the tracker part. Tracker is what you would use to see exactly how students are doing on certain formatives. So here you see an example I have as a science exit ticket. I see that Groovy Gator got 100% correct. Liberty Grove, 0%. So I know Liberty Grove, I need to go ahead and check with Liberty Grove to see what's going on. With us aligning it to our standards, I can address standards with this same feature. So now I'm not just looking at the name of the formative assessment. I'm now looking at the standard that I need to work on. What skill is that student struggling in? So with this, I can go back and address that specific skill. And that is with the tracker. The tracker allows you to see all of those things on one page. So Go Formative has so many things that you can use it for. It is, a lot of differentiation as far as assessments. With Go Formative, you can allow students to show you so many different ways that they can learn and so many different ways that they can achieve their success. You can decide what to teach next based on trends you see, group students, differentiate learning activities. You can give instant written feedback. so that students can know exactly what they did, when they did it, set an answer key, take care of all the grading, and you can just go on there and look at the scores after students have taken those assessments. You can project the live responses with or without names so that students will know what they're looking for without, being afraid of being incorrect. And this can build a lot of rich class discussion. Students will want to talk about it when they know that their answers are anonymous. And this is very engaging for our kids. It helps them to explain what went wrong and what mistakes were made. So Go Formative, like I said, is all encompassing. There's so much more to it than could have fit inside of this webinar. So I encourage you to please, please, please go further in Go Formative and search and, just do the things that you think would fit your classroom the best. With Go Formative, I do understand that if you don't have the paid version, there are some limitations. But with the free version, you can do so many things with your students, and it goes so much further than what I discussed in this webinar that you will find yourself truly, truly involved in this digital formative assessment, and you will find that your kids truly, truly enjoy it. Go formative, go assess, go digital. Just go and have fun with it, guys. Let your kids enjoy showing you how much they've learned. Again, if you have any questions, my partner Jen Kyle is over in the chat. And if you would like to contact me at any time, you can contact me at, different locations. My email is always available. You can contact me at jrstrick@garlandisd.net. And then also I have a blog, Who Dat Teacher 222. Who Dat? If you didn't see the Saints behind me or the Saints on my lanyard, who dat? Who Dat Teacher 222.blogspot.com. And also on Twitter at Miss_Strick504. I'm always available if you have any questions. I know this is pretty fast. It's a lot of information, but Go Formative is awesome. And I really, really hope that you take the time and just try it and incorporate it in your classrooms. So we have the last few minutes of our webinar. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask Jen over there. She's going to answer, and like I said, if you need me, just contact me, let me know. So I hope you have gathered something that you can use and take back to your classroom and use as soon as possible. Go Formative.